Welcome to the Probably Soccer Podcast, where we probably talk about soccer. I'm your host, Eddy, and today we've got a special episode. We are so back. We'll be discussing the last two in-person games I've been to. Not fun. We'll be discussing a little World Cup MLS break. We'll give out some accolades, see how that's been going. And finally, we'll discuss the USL Super League playoff and final. Congratulations, Lexington SC. Should be a great episode. Excited you're here. Let's dive in. Welcome back, everybody. It's good to be back. I've been traveling a lot. Justin's been pretty busy buying a house, so big ups to Justin. Today it's just gonna be me, short little episode. So I really hope you enjoy listening to my voice. But yeah, it should be pretty fun. And I just need to start by commiserating because I think my soccer teams hate me. The last 2 weekends, I've had the pleasure of going to a DC United game. Picture here of me and my buddy Caleb at the game. And then yesterday, I went to the Richmond Kickers game. Picture right here. You'll notice Caleb is also there because he's going through this with me. And at the DC United game, we were up 4-2 heading into stoppage time. Thought we had it. They gave away a penalty. I'm like, cool. Kick the ball away, park the bus. We'll finish this out. We'll win the game. And little did I know, they blew the lead, and we ended up losing 4-4. And I was devastated. But DC United got a point heading into the World Cup break. It's great. We're fired up. I'm excited heading into this past weekend, yesterday, to go down to Richmond. Fun little drive down, go to the game. And the Kickers, my Richmond Kickers, go up 2-0. And what happens? Second half, they blow the lead. And 2 weekends in a row, I get to watch my teams blow a 2-goal lead. But hey, that's soccer. And you know what? I love watching this game. I've fallen in love with it the past year, and it's really fun going in person to these games and seeing what my teams can do. It's always great watching my teams play. AC Boise, incredible team. First season as a club, and so it's been really cool watching them play, and I was excited to watch them in person, and it really did deliver. Really, really exciting game on their part. But I genuinely think that my main soccer teams, hate me. They love blowing leads, and they love just getting me really excited, and then at the very end, they're reeling me in, and then boom, heartbreak. But that's just what it's all about. And so I had to commiserate for a second before diving in. First up, I just want to do some MLS World Cup break accolades. School year just ended. Everyone's getting their yearbooks. You got most likely to succeed. You've got most likely to become a professional athlete. And so I thought it'd be fitting. If I gave my own accolades. I think that's the word. Maybe I'm thinking of a different word. To some very special MLS teams. And so let's dive in. First up, first accolade I want to give is to the most surprising team, the team that has surprised me the most. And Justin, in our last episode, kind of talked about this. He got on his soapbox and he talked about the San Jose Earthquakes and how they have surprised us. Granted, since then, they went on a little bit of a, 5 straight games, I think, without winning a game. Classic, Justin luck. But they finished strong with the win against Portland last weekend. And so I think San Jose, not only to us, but I think the overall consensus in MLS fans and people who watch MLS is that they are a very surprising team. Now, I personally am very curious. We're about to have the World Cup break. We're already in it. I'm curious to see whether they will pick right back up where they left off, or will they continue to kind of go down? Because for a while, they immediately popped up in MLS Cup favorites. And in my eyes, they honestly were. I was like, okay, San Jose is legit. The Western Conference is an absolute beatdown right now. And San Jose is surprising the world. but Vancouver is back in their form. And so it'd be interesting to see whether the Earthquakes keep it up. But San Jose, I want to say congratulations. You have surprised me. Now, on the opposite of most surprising, this accolade I want to give for most disappointing. Now, if you follow MLS at all, again, this is kind of my first full season following, but I did kind of latch on at the end of last season, and so I'm familiar with how Philadelphia played last season. Shocker, Philadelphia is the winner. Congratulations, of most disappointing, team, and they are reigning Supporter Shield champions. They had the best record in the league last year, most amount of points, big time team. And what do they do in the offseason? They go and sell their best pieces. Thank you for Ty Baribo, Philadelphia Union. My goat, Ty Baribo, scoring a lot for DC United. Going to lead us to the playoffs. It's going to be awesome. So they sell all of their best players, and it's really interesting. And a lot of people, us included, still kept them towards the top of the Eastern Conference table just because, reigning Supporter Shield champion. They went pretty far in the playoffs, and it just made sense. They have the formula. Why not trust the process? And what do? They start out by losing a lot of games. They lose, and then they lose. I remember week one, match day one, they played against DC United. And I thought that was just such a massive deal that DC United won that game 1-0. Coming to find out, Philadelphia did suck. And maybe DC United just not as suck this year. Just one of those things. And so, yeah, Philadelphia, you have really disappointed me, disappointed us, disappointed the MLS. And I mean, granted, like I just said, as a DC United fan, I'm not mad about it. They're our closest rivals, closest team to us. And it is really nice to see them struggling, in my long time of watching DC United. So Philadelphia, most disappointing team. We'll see post-World Cup. Maybe they're able to, make some summer moves, make those adjustments. They bring in a new coach because they just released their head coach. Crazy, by the way. You go from winning the Supporter Shield and not even halfway through the season, you get released from your team. It's crazy. I wish off the top of my head I knew if that had happened before to compare with, but it's just nuts. And so Philadelphia, just disappointing. We'll see what happens post-World Cup break, but congratulations. You are most disappointing. To give my take for who makes a Cinderella run into the playoffs. We are 15 match days into the season, and usually by now you kind of get a pull of what it's looking like. There's still a good bit of the season to go, still more than half. But the tables are really starting to take shape. And I'm still newer to soccer, so I'm still kind of comparing to other sports. And I was trying to think, what is an accolade? What is something to discuss that I can compare it to another sport? And what comes to mind is a Cinderella run. In March Madness, there are these teams that sneak in. Let's say, since I was in Richmond yesterday, University of Richmond gets in. Or VCU. VCU, perfect example. VCU gets in, and they make their Cinderella run. They make it to the, Sweet 16, Elite 8, and everyone's all in on them because – when they come in, they're not expected to beat, the Floridas or the Auburns or Alabamas or Kentuckys, things like that. They come in and they win. And so the table's finally, starting to take shape. There's teams that are very clear at the bottom. There's teams that's very clearly at the top. But there's still kind of, in both conferences, sort of a little middle ground to see who can make it in. And so I want to tell you my take on who will make a Cinderella run into the playoffs post-World Cup break. And I think it's going to be Orlando City. They have lost a lot of games. I'm blanking on where they are exactly in the table right now, but I think 11th, 12th, 13th sounds about right. And so they're towards the bottom. However, I've watched this team play in person. They played DC United, and how did they lose? DC United scored 2 goals in the last 10 minutes of regulation, one in the last 10 minutes of regulation and one in stoppage time. to lose the game. And so Orlando City just had some really bad luck. I know you probably remember that Miami game when they were up and blew that lead late. And Messi ended up taking one of the hardest photos in MLS history. I'll toss that up right here just so those who are watching on YouTube can see it. And so they've just had some really bad luck. And part of it is just because they give up or just bad playing, bad coaching, whatever it may be. But just some really bad luck. But when they are on it, they really played well against DC United. I really enjoyed watching them play. And so that's why they're my pick to make a Cinderella run into the playoffs. I think right now a lot of their team is adjusting. When they get back from the World Cup, Antoine Griezmann's coming from La Liga and Atletico Madrid. And so they'll have that boost. They're in the middle of an Open Cup run. They made it to the semis. I think they'll go all the way and win the Open Cup this year. And so with those sort of boosts that are happening, I genuinely do think that Orlando City will sneak into either the 9th, maybe even the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. If they get those pieces of the puzzle to connect and work together, I think that Orlando City, mark it down, write it down, May 31st, 2026, Eddy Michel, Orlando City making a playoff spot. That soundbite is either going to come back to bite me or vindicate me come November for playoffs. But that is my pick for who's going to make a Cinderella run in the second half of the season to make it into the playoffs. We'll see how far they actually go in playoffs, but I think with Griezmann coming in and just all these different pieces coming together, they are a good, really scrappy team. I genuinely do think that they can make it all the way into the playoff spot. And finally, one last accolade I want to give out. I just thought it'd be interesting to share my take on teams that I just really enjoy watching, teams that I find interesting to watch. Obviously, MLS is one of the larger leagues, in the world. 30 teams. That's insane to say, but no promotion relegation, so got to keep growing the largest league in the country. So I'm not able to watch every single game. Sometimes it's even hard to just watch highlights from every single game. I mean, that's 15 games, give or take 10 minutes. That's over an hour of just watching highlights. And I, believe it or not, don't have that much time. And so there are certain teams that I seek out to watch. And so I thought it'd be interesting just to give one from each conference to get this accolade. Just fun team that I get excited to watch. So in the I just realized I have 2 Western Conference teams. So we're gonna give 2. We're gonna give 2 to the Western Conference. LOL. So congratulations to these 2 Western Conference teams. First one, this one pains me to say because as you should know by now, I am from Houston originally, but I do love watching FC Dallas play soccer. Peter Musa is a dog. FC Dallas is a scrappy team. They have won games late. That game against Houston was so good. I love watching Musa play. They absolutely embarrassed DC United earlier this season. And so pending, summer transactions, what they do, if Musa gets sold or what that may look like, I hope they keep him. I really enjoy watching them play soccer. They're a very exciting team, and I am really pumped to see what happens with FC Dallas because I genuinely do think both Dallas and Houston can make the playoffs this year. And if they end up meeting in the playoffs, that would be so good, and it'd be really interesting to see me and Justin's banter if that were to happen because I am a DC United fan. But I do enjoy Houston as a city because, I grew up just outside of the city. Every other sport, I'm a Houston sports fan. Literally, my Instagram bio is Houston sports fanatic, DC sports enjoyer. And so I think that would create just some really fun banter and content for y'all. So FC Dallas, congratulations. It pains me to say it, but I have to. You are a very exciting team to watch for me. So I'll clap it up for y'all. Got the scarf behind me too. The other team in the Western Conference that I really enjoy watching, kind of a basic answer, but I'm still going to say it. They're a Canadian team, so that's why I think, I'm okay with doing it. That is the Vancouver Whitecaps. They made the MLS Cup final last year. I'm, as you all know, not the biggest fan of Miami. And so it was a really fun hate watching them and watching that equalizer and then ultimately losing the game, which sucked. But this year, let me be clear, save the Caps, Whitecaps, please stay in Vancouver. To the businessmen of Vancouver, buy the team, keep them there, build the soccer-specific stadium. Soccer belongs in Vancouver. Let me be very clear there. I don't want to see them move to Las Vegas. There's already a USL team in Las Vegas. Just, businessmen buy that one and turn it into an MLS team. It's not that hard. Come on, guys. Vancouver's really fun to watch. I really love watching Thomas Mueller. I again, have very recently gotten into soccer, so I wasn't able to watch him in the Bundesliga, but I'm sure he would have been one of my favorite players to watch growing up, if that were the case. I really enjoy watching him play. I like watching the young team. They dominate. They score goals. It is so fun to watch them play. And, I think they will make another deep run into the MLS Cup final, or at least conference final in the Western Conference. But for right now, I love watching Vancouver and the Whitecaps play soccer. And so congratulations, FC Dallas and Vancouver. You are my picks for the most exciting teams for me that I seek out to watch, even if your games are at like 10 p.m. my time. I would be remiss if in this shorter monologue day, me on the pod just talking away, which, I love doing, if we didn't talk a little bit about the USL Super League. Our last episode together, we were discussing how crazy and how tight the playoff race was for that fourth spot. Unfortunately, my team, DC Power, did not get the fourth spot. It ended up being the Trinity. And it did end up being a battle to lose to Lexington in the first round. But I wanted to say congratulations to the Lexington women for winning the title yesterday. What a great game. What a great story, going from in the first year of the league being bottom of the table to now having glory with that title win today. It's kind of sort of switching spots with Tampa Bay, which is pretty funny. And the beauty of the parody of this league. So congratulations, Lexington. Also Carolina, what a fight. Going up 1-0 right before half with a nice strike. Low-key, I thought that would have won the game from when I was watching the highlights, just the way that it seemed and the way they were playing going into the second half and in the second half. But then Mackenzie Weinert, what an equalizer off of the set piece and getting it into the goal. Just insane. And this game ended up going to extra time. I remember the Kickers game had just ended. I checked in and I was like, it's the 90th minute right now, and it's tied 1-1. They might go to extra time. However, I did have to lock in on my hate watch with the Oklahoma City Thunder and cheering Wemby to hopefully make it into the NBA Finals, which he did as we were driving back from Richmond back to DC. And I'll say this as a side note to the people who run the USL Super League highlights, YouTube, do better. Do better. I'm here watching the highlights from your championship game, sold-out game in Lexington, and you don't have Lexington's second goal. I would love to mention it right now, who scored it, what it looked like, but it wasn't in the highlight video. I literally went back 3 different times because I was like, did I miss it? Maybe I was checking my phone. I went back 3 times. I was like, no, it literally goes from 1-1 to 2-1 all of a sudden. They're like, oh, they're picking up speed. So I wish I could talk about that goal, but shout out to the USL Super League YouTube page for not having it. But the final score was 3-1 right before the halftime point of extra time. What a setup assist from none other than Kat Berry into McCain being able there to shoot it, and it was saved, and then she put her body on the line, making sure not getting that handball, and just chest bumped it into the goal. Like, it was really cool to see. And at that point, you're pretty much like, wow, that just won the championship for your team. And so that was I was like, wow, probably would have gotten a handball in that moment from that ball bouncing back up right into my body, but being able to just like chest bump it into the goal to essentially seal the deal. Now, I don't want to. In hindsight, I should be saying seal the deal when you go up 2 goals, because as we started this episode, I told you about my past 2 experiences at live soccer games, watching 2-goal leads just disappear. But that did it for Lexington. So Lexington, congratulations on a great season, on the Players' Shield, on winning the championship 3-1 against Carolina. Congratulations, Carolina. You were a very hot team going into this. I've enjoyed those games when you played DC Power, even if Power were on the losing/drawing end. And so I'm excited for where this league can go. With the Spokane news recently of Spokane Zephyr folding, it does, in my brain, kind of put a little damper on it. So I'd be curious to see how USL and the Super League bounce back going into next season. But ultimately, I'm excited. It's really fun. Just I can go to Audi Field on a random Thursday night, watch some pro soccer, watch my girls play, cheer them on, and now I've got a jersey, so it's really game over for all of y'all. And I'm excited to see where this league grows, how it can continue to dot the map with other women's soccer teams that maybe their city's not big enough to be in the NWSL. But it's just funny, like DC having a Super League team when we've also got the Spirit. And then Dallas should have an NWSL team. But, small markets like Carolina, like Spokane before the folding, small markets like, I guess, Tampa Bay. And so I'm really excited to see where this league goes. USL, they can fumble it, they cannot. And just really cool to see what will happen with it. So congratulations, Lexington. Congratulations, USL, on another great Super League season. Season 3 should be awesome. Yeah, so thank you guys for listening today. Like I mentioned, Justin's a little busy today, so just wanted to hop on, do a short solo pod, talk about MLS, end of year World Cup break accolades, talk about the Super League. Excited to see what the summer looks like for the Super League, and ultimately, guys, we made it. It's World Cup season. I am very excited for what's going to happen. I'm getting geared up right now to watch the U.S. men's national team play against Senegal. So we'll see how that goes. And then another friendly. So next episode, we'll probably talk about those 2 friendlies, see what we noticed, talk about, the roster and what we would have done differently, and ultimately get prepped for a great World Cup. I will be watching. Will you be watching? We'll be continue posting content about the World Cup, about big stories, U.S. men's national team, fun stuff like that. So I know I'm excited about the World Cup. I know you're probably excited. As you've probably seen our countdown online, it's gonna be very, very exciting. So thank you for listening. Go follow us on Instagram at Probably Soccer Pod, TikTok Probably Soccer. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We will continue to create great content for you, and all for the growth of the beautiful game here in America.